Less than a week out
Crazy, right?
to the big
This is
debut.
the desk, right?
How are you feeling?
Tucked away on the edge of Skaneateles Lake in upstate New York is a home that might just take your breath away. At first glance, it looks like something out of a storybook classic, elegant and calm. Inside, it's the perfect blend of timeless charm and sleek, modern comfort. Outside, picture early mornings on the water, just David Muir and his loyal dog Axel gliding across the lake in peace. But behind that serene picture lies a story most of us haven't heard. Who is David Muir when the cameras are off? What kind of life has he built behind these historic walls? Let's take a closer look. You may know David Muir as the face of World News Tonight on ABC, a trusted journalist with a sharp presence and a steady voice. But off-screen, David has kept his personal life low-key. That is, until now. His lakeside home offers a rare and intimate window into the private world he shares with Axel. He bought this historic gem for a cool $7 million, and it's more than just a house. It's a sanctuary, a place where time slows down. Built back in 1890, this 4,300 square foot home is a true piece of history. With 6 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, and 3 bathrooms, there's room to breathe, room to think, and definitely room to unwind. Every inch of the house carries character, especially the original woodwork that brings old-world craftsmanship to life. This place isn't just a real estate dream, it's deeply personal. David grew up not far from here, and staying rooted in central New York means staying close to his family and his beginnings. For years, he imagined owning a home like this, and now it's his retreat from the rush of the newsroom. The renovations were slow, thoughtful, and full of heart. Today, the house feels warm and inviting, especially the living room. There, a grand marble fireplace commands attention, framed by intricate molding and a sleek black screen. Light pours in through tall windows, bouncing off white walls and soft gray furniture. It's stylish, but never stuffy, elegant, yet lived in. Though he's famously private, David occasionally gives us small glimpses into this world through social media. And one star always steals the spotlight: Axel. Whether he's stretched out in front of the fireplace or lounging in the sun-drenched living room, Axel's calm energy adds to the home's peaceful vibe. Look around and you'll find family photos tucked into cozy corners, simple yet tasteful furniture, and a deep sense of home. But it doesn't stop at the front door. Outside, the beauty continues. The lawn is pristine, framed by mature trees and open skies. David and Axel are often seen in photos out on the lake, enjoying those early morning boat rides. You can feel the bond between them and their shared love for the water and the quiet that comes with it. The backyard is its own oasis. A stunning pool surrounded by manicured grass makes for the perfect afternoon escape. It's not unusual to see Axel curled up next to David by the water, soaking up the stillness. For David, this home isn't about luxury, it's about peace. It's a place where he can truly let go, slow down, and just be himself. And in a world where the news never stops, that kind of peace is priceless. This isn't just a beautiful home, it's where nature meets luxury in the most effortless way. Tucked away by the serene waters of Skaneateles Lake, David Muir's lakeside retreat offers more than just breathtaking views. It tells a story of comfort, connection, and quiet resilience, especially during the moments that mattered most. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, David opened up about something close to his heart: the quiet power of companionship. In one rare interview, he called pets the unsung heroes of hard times, offering comfort, joy, and stability when the world felt uncertain. And for David, that hero was Axel. Whether it was Axel chasing birds across the yard or curiously watching frogs near the water's edge, those simple moments lifted their days. His playful energy brought warmth to even the darkest afternoons, a daily reminder of how pets fill our lives with unexpected joy. Step inside the home and that same feeling of comfort continues. The interior strikes a perfect balance between timeless charm and modern ease. It's elegant but never overdone. The living room, for instance, is warm and full of personality, an ideal place for David to decompress. One small glass table with brass trim holds something more valuable than decor: framed photos of family. Simple, heartfelt touches like this add soul to the space and reflect what matters most to David. Fans who've seen glimpses of the home often praise its calming atmosphere. The look is classic, the energy is cozy, and at the center of it all is Axel. David has said that coming home to Axel helps him clear his head and find peace after long, demanding days. Their bond is more than sweet, it's grounding. In David's words, Axel has been a life enhancer, especially in hard seasons. It's a reminder that companionship, whether it's found in a faithful dog or a well-loved home, is one of life's quiet essentials. But the story doesn't end at the main house. Just a few steps away sits a charming carriage house, built in 2009, but designed to blend right in with the historic character of the property. With 2 garages and 4 extra bedrooms, it's the perfect space for visiting friends and family, adding even more heart and hospitality to the home. This addition makes the estate feel complete. It's not just a private retreat, it's a place that's always ready to welcome others. And then there's the view. The backyard rolls gently down to the edge of the lake, framed by lush green trees and the sparkle of sunlight on water. It's an open invitation to slow down. Whether it's a morning coffee on the porch, a quiet afternoon stroll, or Axel bounding across the grass, this space radiates calm and connection. For David Muir, this property isn't just where he lives, it's where he breathes, resets, and finds meaning in the everyday. It's not about status, it's about soul. Tucked along the peaceful shoreline of Skaneateles Lake is a home that feels like something out of a dream. It's more than just a luxury property. It's David Muir's personal escape, a place where nature meets comfort and where the fast pace of the world fades into stillness. This lakeside retreat is a reflection of David's journey. It's not just where he lives, it's where he breathes, recharges, and reconnects with what really matters. From quiet nights by the crackling fireplace to sunny afternoons by the pool with Axel by his side, every part of this home tells a story of peace, love, and contentment. Fans adore the rare moments when David gives us a glimpse behind the curtain, especially when those moments include Axel, his beloved dog. Whether they're lounging together on the couch or soaking in the calm of nature, these snapshots feel honest and deeply human. They remind us that joy often lives in the simple things: a wagging tail, a warm cup of coffee, and a place that feels like home. At its core, David Muir's home isn't just about style, it's about soul. The classic meets modern design gives the house warmth and character. It's a space made not just to impress, but to truly live in. And with Axel always close by, the home radiates comfort, companionship, and a quiet kind of joy. Despite his high-profile career as one of America's most trusted news anchor, this retreat is where David finds his balance. It's where he can press pause, reflect, and simply be himself. He's built more than a house. He's built a haven, a space that captures the beauty of nature and the comfort of being surrounded by love. But that brings up a question many fans wonder. Is Axel the only one sharing this peaceful life with David? Before we explore more about what's going on in his private world today, let's rewind the clock and look at the early days of his incredible journey. David Muir's story begins in Syracuse, New York, where he was born on November 8, 1973. Raised in the tight-knit neighborhood of Onondaga Hill, David grew up in a family that valued hard work and education. His dad, Ronald, was a truck driver and construction worker, and his mom, Pat Mills, was a former teacher. Though his parents divorced when he was young, both stayed actively involved in his life, constantly cheering him on. He wasn't an only child. He had an older sibling and 2 younger step-siblings who brought energy and noise to family gatherings. Those childhood moments, full of connection and laughter, gave David a deep sense of belonging. Even as a kid, David's passion for news was crystal clear. While other kids were outside playing, David was inside, using a cardboard box as a makeshift news desk. At just 10 years old, he was already broadcasting to anyone who would listen. And by age 12, he was so glued to the evening news that he'd turn down playtime with friends just to watch. It wasn't just a hobby, it was a calling. And it was only the beginning of a career that would eventually make him a trusted voice in millions of homes across the country. Long before he became one of the most recognizable faces in American journalism, David Muir was just a kid in upstate New York with a big dream and a cardboard notepad. He once said that to him, Peter Jennings was the James Bond of the evening news, cool, confident, and deeply respected. It wasn't just admiration, it was inspiration. And from that moment on, David was hooked. As a kid, he didn't dress up as superheroes for Halloween. Nope, he went as a reporter, trench coat and all, with a notepad in hand. That's how serious he was. His passion didn't stop at dress-up either. He actually wrote a letter to Ron Curtis, the local news anchor at WTVH, Channel 5 in Syracuse, asking how to break into the business. Curtis wrote back with a simple but powerful message. There's always room for the right person, and David took that to heart. By the time he was 13, David had found his way into the newsroom at WTVH. He wasn't on camera yet, but he was everywhere else, doing anything he could, carrying tripods, grabbing coffee, helping reporters. No job was too small. The team even had a running joke. Every summer, they'd mark his height on a wall and track when his voice finally dropped. He wasn't just the kid intern, he was part of the newsroom family. These early moments were more than just cute stories. They were the building blocks of a future broadcast icon. David graduated from Onondaga Central Junior Senior High in 1991, but even before that, he was sharpening his skills. Writing for the school newspaper gave him his first real taste of storytelling, and he loved it. His path was already taking shape. After high school, he headed to Ithaca College, majoring in journalism, and from day one, he hit the ground running. As a freshman, he anchored the college's student news show, gaining hands-on experience that would pay off later. Wanting a deeper understanding of the world he'd be reporting on, he added a political science minor. His hunger to learn didn't stop there. He spent a semester at Georgetown University at the Institute on Political Journalism. Then he packed his bags and headed to Spain, enrolling at the University of Salamanca. He lived with a local family, took Spanish language classes, and fully immersed himself in the culture. That experience wasn't just educational, it was transformational. Years later, that same fluency in Spanish allowed David to host a groundbreaking 2015 town hall with Pope Francis, conducted entirely in Espanol. It was a full-circle moment that all began with curiosity and a suitcase full of dreams. David graduated from Ithaca in 1995, but he never really left. Over the years, he stayed connected, returning often to share stories, advice, and encouragement with students following in his footsteps. In 2011, he delivered the school's commencement address, urging grads to chase their passions, just like he had. In 2015, Ithaca honored him with a doctorate, and with a wink, he joked, "Please, call me Dr. Muir." But behind the polished news desk and the accolades, it's clear that David's upbringing shaped who he is at the core. His mom, a school teacher, showed him the power of learning. His dad, a hard-working man in construction and trucking, instilled in him the value of grit and perseverance. Those early lessons never left him. In fact, he still thinks about those long drives his parents took just to get him to internships at the TV station. "I'll never forget those drives," he once said. And really, how could he? They were the first steps on a journey that would take a small-town kid all the way to the anchor chair and into the homes and hearts of millions. "I'm still grateful they took me," David Muir once said, reflecting on the early days of his career. It's a humble comment from a man who has gone from a wide-eyed kid in Syracuse to one of the most respected journalists on television today. Growing up in upstate New York, David didn't just dream, he worked. His journey wasn't handed to him. It was built with persistence, early mornings, late nights, and a passion for storytelling that never let go. And it's that drive that carried him from a childhood love of news to anchoring one of the most watched broadcasts in the country. David's story reminds us that success doesn't happen overnight. It's earned step by step, story by story. And with every interview, every breaking news segment, and every trip into the heart of a crisis, David Muir shines a light on the power of journalism to inform, to move, and to matter. His foundation, a mix of supportive family, excellent education, and an unwavering love for the truth. All of it shaped the journalist and the man we see today. David's career has been packed with powerful moments. He doesn't just report the news, he lives it. He once looked back on his coverage of Hurricane Katrina and shared a chilling memory. Standing beside families as the storm roared in, feeling the roof begin to lift right above them. It was unimaginable, he said, but he stayed. That's the kind of journalist David is. Long before he became a household name, David got his start in local newsrooms. In 1994, he began anchoring and reporting at WTVH-TV in his hometown of Syracuse. Even early on, his reporting stood out. In 1995, when Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated, David was there, on the ground in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Gaza, covering one of the most tense and historic moments of that time. His reporting wasn't just timely, it was deeply human. That coverage earned him top honors from the Radio Television News Directors Association, as well as accolades from the Associated Press for Best Enterprise Reporting and Best Television Interview. And back home, the Syracuse Press Club named him anchor of the best local newscast and one of the most promising talents in the region. But David wasn't done yet. In 2000, he made a major career move by joining WCVB in Boston, a much larger market and a bigger stage. There he sharpened his skills even more, especially through hard-hitting investigative stories that made people take notice. Each step forward was powered by the same qualities he showed as a kid, with a cardboard news desk: curiosity, courage, and commitment. One of the stories that truly put David Muir on the map was a chilling investigation into the flight paths taken by the 9/11 hijackers. It was groundbreaking, detailed, and important. The Associated Press took notice, praising his coverage in the piece earned him a prestigious regional Edward R. Murrow Award. it was just the beginning. David's rise through the ranks at ABC News began in August 2003 when he joined the network as the overnight anchor for World News Now. Even in the late-night hours, his calm presence and natural storytelling made people stop and listen. That charisma and clarity earned him another seat quickly, this time on World News This Morning. By 2007, David was anchoring World News Saturday, steadily building trust with viewers. But it was 2012 that marked a real turning point. He became the face of the weekend edition of World News, and before long, the broadcast was renamed World News with David Muir. Ratings climbed, so did his influence. Then came Hurricane Katrina in 2005, a defining moment in his career. While many watched from a distance, David was on the ground. Reporting from inside the Superdome, he gave the country a raw, unfiltered look at the chaos and heartbreak unfolding in New Orleans. He interviewed survivors, walked through floodwaters, and showed the world what was really happening at the overwhelmed convention center and Charity Hospital. He didn't just cover the news, he gave people a voice. And that's what truly set him apart. But David's work hasn't stopped at America's borders. In October 2006, he was stationed along the tense Israel-Lebanon border, reporting during the conflict with Hezbollah. Just months later, in March 2007, he was on the ground in Gaza during the violent Hamas takeover, capturing the fear, uncertainty, and daily struggles of those caught in the crossfire. He doesn't just chase headlines, he follows the human stories that live within them. In 2007, he traveled to Peru to report on the devastation left by a powerful earthquake. A year later, he journeyed to Ukraine to shed light on the long-term effects of the Chernobyl disaster, decades after the meltdown, but with consequences still very real. In 2009, he turned his focus back home, tackling the epidemic of gun violence in America. His reporting brought national attention to a crisis often swept under the rug. Then came Haiti in 2010. After a catastrophic earthquake claimed more than 200,000 lives, David was there. His reports didn't just show the destruction, they showed the heartbreak, the orphans, the women facing violence, the silent toll of trauma. He returned multiple times, committed to telling the full story, long after the headlines faded. In 2011, he stood in Egypt's Tahrir Square, capturing the spirit and urgency of a revolution in motion. That same year, he reported from the front lines of Fukushima, Japan, just weeks after the devastating earthquake and nuclear disaster changed the country forever. From war zones to natural disasters, David Muir has made it his mission to be there, to ask the hard questions, to show the world not just what happened, whether it's the devastation in Haiti or a crumbling hospital in New Orleans. David brings humanity to every broadcast. And through it all, his goal remains the same: to connect, inform, and never forget the people behind the stories. David Muir has never been one to play it safe, especially when it comes to telling stories that matter. Over the years, he's reported from some of the most heart-wrenching and high-stakes moments in recent history, and sometimes that meant putting himself directly in harm's way. He was there after the tragic shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, helping the nation process an unthinkable loss. In Joplin, Missouri, he walked through neighborhoods flattened by a monstrous tornado, showing the world what survival and heartbreak really look like. When the 2012 U.S. presidential election rolled around, Muir wasn't just covering it, he was shaping the conversation. His interviews with Mitt Romney hit on major hot-button issues like immigration and the economy, sparking national debate. Fearless, focused, and sharp, David earned his place as one of the most respected political journalists of his time. And then, in January 2013, he did something no Western journalist had done before. He reported from Mogadishu, Somalia, at the height of a humanitarian crisis. Famine had gripped the region, but few dared go in. Muir did. His courageous reporting not only told the story, it demanded attention. That assignment earned him an Edward R. Murrow Award and reminded the world of the power of journalism at its most fearless. On June 27, 2014, David Muir was named anchor and managing editor of ABC World News. It was a career-defining moment and a new chapter. His first broadcast aired on September 1st of that year. Under his leadership, World News Tonight with David Muir didn't just thrive, it skyrocketed. By April 2015, it was the most watched evening newscast in America. The last time ABC held that title, years earlier. But Muir brought it back, one powerful story at a time. In 2016, David took on a rising crisis many were afraid to confront: the surge of heroin addiction across America. He and his team spent an entire year digging into the epidemic, producing a gut-wrenching, eye-opening report that earned him the Kin Golden Eagle Award. The impact was immediate. The story struck a nerve and called leaders to action. But David didn't stop there. He's also been a commanding presence on the political stage, moderating presidential debates and landing some of the most watched interviews of the decade. In 2015, he sat down with Hillary Clinton, pressing her on the controversial use of a private email server, a question that helped shape the election narrative. Then in January 2017, just days after President Donald Trump took office, David landed the very first post-inauguration interview. It made headlines across the country and further cemented his status as the go-to journalist for straight answers, even in turbulent times. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Americans turned to David Muir. Week after week, nearly 12 million viewers tuned in, relying on his calm, steady presence and fact-driven reporting. His broadcast became one of the most watched shows on television, not just among news programs, but across all categories. On May 6, 2020, he once again sat across from President Trump, asking tough questions about the government's response to the pandemic. The interview became a key moment in a national conversation about health, leadership, and accountability. And he hasn't let up. Throughout President Joe Biden's term, Muir has stayed in close touch, conducting multiple interviews that continue to shape public discourse and keep leaders accountable. David Muir has never been one to back down from the hard questions. During the height of the COVID-19 crisis, he pressed top leaders on whether the U.S. was truly ready for another surge. In February 2023, he sat down with President Biden in Warsaw, diving deep into America's commitment to Ukraine and what's at stake on the global stage. But David's passion for truth-telling goes far beyond the comfort of the anchor desk. In 2021, he traveled to southern Madagascar to report on a devastating famine, one made worse by the growing threat of climate change. The story wasn't just powerful, it was life-changing. His reporting moved viewers to action, helping raise over $3 million for the World Food Program. The impact was so profound that he was honored with a George Polk Award for environmental reporting. As ABC News' chief anchor for breaking news and special coverage, Muir has become the voice America trusts when it matters most. When Russia invaded Ukraine, Muir was the first anchor from a major U.S. network to sit down face-to-face with President Volodymyr Zelensky, offering viewers a critical, first-hand look at the war through the eyes of the Ukrainian leader. He's known for putting himself on the front lines not just of breaking news, but of accountability. On September 10, 2024, all eyes were on David Muir as he co-moderated a high-stakes presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It didn't take long for sparks to fly. As Trump made several bold claims, Muir stepped in with real-time fact-checking, an approach that drew both praise and pushback. While some viewers appreciated the effort to keep the conversation honest, others, especially conservative critics, argued that the moderators were tougher on Trump than Harris. Although Muir and co-moderator Lindsay Davis fact-checked the former president multiple times, they faced criticism for not pressing the vice president with the same intensity. Accusations of media bias followed, igniting a fierce national conversation about fairness, trust, and the role of journalists in political debates. The night of the debate, World News Tonight saw its ratings dip. 6.7 million viewers tuned in, down 12% from the night before. It was a rare moment for a show that typically leads the pack in viewership. Trump was quick to respond, slamming the debate as biased and accusing Muir of losing credibility. In contrast, Lindsay Davis defended their approach, pointing out the importance of fact-checking in real time, especially after previous debates where misinformation went unchecked. Despite the backlash, World News Tonight with David Muir remains the top-rated evening newscast in America. And Muir, he's still standing, still asking the tough questions, and still doing the job he's always believed in, holding the powerful accountable, no matter the cost. ABC's Martha Raddatz later stepped in to clarify a comment Vice President Harris made about U.S. military deployments, something many saw as a reminder of the need for truly balanced, fair reporting. Critics didn't hold back. They argued that ABC's moderators should have pressed Harris more on shifting policy positions, especially when it came to sensitive topics like abortion. Conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt took it a step further, saying the way Muir and Lindsay Davis handled the debate hurt their credibility, and by extension, the reputation of ABC and even its parent company Disney. According to Hewitt, skipping tough follow-ups on Harris' responses chipped away at public trust. Adding fuel to the fire, during the same debate, Davis drew controversy when she brought up Trump's planned visit to a Michigan town historically tied to a Ku Klux Klan rally. Her mention of it, which tied into ABC's earlier Democratic National Convention coverage, didn't sit well with some viewers who felt the reference was inflammatory. Through it all, David Muir has remained grounded in what he believes journalism is truly about: storytelling. For him, it's not just about delivering headlines, it's about making people feel the story, connecting with real lives, real struggles, and real victories. Muir believes that great journalism doesn't just inform, it moves people. And when he listens to someone's story, he's not just hearing words, he's absorbing emotion, bringing their reality into our living rooms with compassion and clarity. That same empathy fuels his commitment off camera. Muir supports causes tied to education and environmental sustainability, using his platform to drive awareness and change. He believes journalism should uplift, enlighten, and even heal. His deep commitment hasn't gone unnoticed. Over the years, Muir has racked up numerous honors, including multiple Emmy Awards for outstanding journalism and a prestigious Peabody Award for his reporting on the Syrian refugee crisis. Each one speaks to the impact of his work and to the trust viewers place in him every night. Today, David Muir remains one of the most watched and respected news anchors in the country. His focus, still the same: tell the stories that matter, give people a voice, and build trust through truth. Behind the scenes, Muir keeps his personal life remarkably private. While his professional image is polished and widely admired, it's his dedication, compassion, and belief in the power of storytelling that truly define who he is. In many ways, David Muir is more than a journalist. He's a reminder that news can do more than inform. It can inspire, connect, and make the world just a little more human. Even though David Muir is one of the most recognized faces in news, he's kept a tight lid on his personal life, something that's only deepened the public's curiosity. While he rarely opens up about his private world, one thing is clear: family means everything to him. He's especially close to his older sister, Rebecca Muir, who runs an organic farm nestled in Borodino, New York. David visits often, and he's not shy about sharing sweet snapshots of those visits. The farm is bursting with fresh produce, everything from vibrant vegetables to heirloom mushrooms, showcasing Rebecca's deep-rooted love for the land. These glimpses of farm life also highlight David's strong family ties and his appreciation for simplicity and homegrown values. David's family extends beyond just Rebecca. He also has two younger step-siblings from his dad's second marriage, making his world even more rich and interconnected. Birthdays, graduations, and holidays are a big deal for him. He regularly posts about these special moments. He affectionately calls his nieces and nephews his squad, proudly cheering them on through life's milestones. When the pandemic put graduation ceremonies on hold, David still found a way to celebrate his niece Finn and nephew Malcolm's achievements, both graduates of Cornell University, by honoring them publicly on social media. While David doesn't have kids, he does share his home with someone very special: Axel, his German short-haired pointer. Axel isn't just a pet, he's family. The two are inseparable, and fans get occasional peeks into their bond through David's social media. Whether it's a walk in the park or a cozy night in, Axel is often right by his side, proving that unconditional companionship comes in all forms. David also surrounds himself with loyal friends, and one of the most well-known is talk show host Kelly Ripa. Their friendship spans years and is filled with genuine love and support. In her memoir, Live Wire, Kelly even wrote a heartfelt letter to David calling him her backbone. Their connection is so strong that it's led to plenty of rumors. But the truth is simpler. They're just very close friends who enjoy traveling together, supporting each other's families, and sharing laughs. Of course, with fame comes speculation. David's decision to stay private about his love life has only fueled endless rumors. He's never publicly confirmed being in a relationship, and he's never addressed any of the media guesses about his romantic status. One name that came up in the past was fellow ABC journalist Gio Benitez. Their friendly interactions and public appearances got people talking, but Gio later married Tommy D'Addario in 2015, shutting down that rumor. David and Gio, meanwhile, have remained close friends and professional allies. In a lighter moment, writer Kate Dries once jokingly claimed in a 2015 Jezebel article that she had dated David. He never responded, adding more mystery to the mix. Then in 2022, whispers started about someone named Sean, a private individual supposedly linked to David. But again, no confirmation, no denial, just quiet dignity from Muir as he chose to stay focused on his career. Through all the speculation and headlines, David Muir has stayed true to his mission, delivering trusted news and staying grounded in purpose. While fans may always wonder about the man behind the anchor desk, David's priorities are clear journalism, family, and meaningful storytelling. In a world obsessed with oversharing, Muir's ability to keep what matters most private might just be one of his greatest strengths. David Muir's deep commitment to journalism and the honest way he connects with viewers have made him one of the most respected names in news today. While many celebrities and public figures let fans in on every detail of their personal lives, David takes a different approach. He's chosen to keep that side of his life private, focusing instead on what truly matters to him, his work, his family, and telling stories that make a difference. Of course, curiosity about his romantic life still lingers. Fans often wonder who David might be dating, but he stayed firm in drawing a line between his career and his personal world. For him, that separation isn't about secrecy. It's about staying grounded, focused, and true to what he values most.